Unlike Congress, where leadership was collective, the BJP centered its entire 2014 campaign around one man, Narendra Modi. His face was on posters. Not just the party's symbol, his speeches dominated the campaign narrative. He was called Chaiwala, tea seller, turning his humble background into a heroic story of hard work. The result was the birth of the Modi cult. Millions began to see him not just as a politician, but as a savior who could single-handedly fix India's problems. Mixing development with Hindutva*, although Modi's 2014 campaign focused heavily on development, Hindutva was never far away. Subtle messaging about Hindu pride and anti-Muslim sentiments ran in the background. Issues like illegal Bangladeshi immigrants, cow protection, and national security threats were frequently mentioned. This mix of development plus Hindutva proved powerful. For the middle class, Modi represented modernization. For hardcore Hindutva supporters, he was the protector of Hindu identity. For the poor, he was a humble man who understood their struggles. Modi, the orator*, another factor behind Modi's rise was his oratory skills. Unlike Manmohan Singh's quiet academic style, Modi delivered fiery, emotional speeches. He mocked the Congress as weak, corrupt, and elitist. He presented himself as an outsider who was not part of the Delhi elite but someone who had struggled his way up. His speeches used simple Hindi, filled with metaphors and slogans that resonated with ordinary Indians. Each rally felt like a rock concert, with thousands chanting his name. This charisma made him stand out as a larger-than-life figure. The international angle * global powers also took interest in Modi's rise. Until 2014, the U.S. and many Western countries had denied him entry because of the 2002 Gujarat riots. But as his popularity grew, these restrictions quietly disappeared. Suddenly, world leaders began to see Modi as the man who would dominate Indian politics for the next decade. Business tycoons supported him, sensing opportunities in his pro-business policies. International media covered him as India's new strongman. The 2014 result, a political earthquake *, the results shocked the world. The BJP, under Modi, won 282 seats, a majority on its own. For the first time in 30 years, India had a single-party majority. Congress was reduced to just 44 seats, its worst defeat ever. It was more than an election victory. It was a political earthquake. The old order had collapsed, and a new era had begun, an era of Modi dominance. Conclusion: the birth of the Modi era *, the 2014 election was not just about politics. It was about the creation of a new narrative for India. Modi positioned himself as the outsider who defeated the Delhi elite, the development messiah who promised a modern India, * the Hindutva leader who gave Hindu pride a central place, the media master who controlled the narrative like never before. It was the perfect storm: public anger against Congress, Modi's charisma, and a well-oiled propaganda machine. From 2014 onwards, Indian democracy entered a new phase, the Modi era, *, but the real question remained: could Modi deliver on his promises of jobs, growth, and good governance? Or was the 2014 wave more about image than substance? Modi 2.0, nationalism, power, and authoritarianism * in 2019, Narendra Modi once again swept the Indian general elections, cementing his image as the most dominant political figure in India's modern history. The BJP increased its tally from 282 seats in 2014 to an even more impressive 303 seats in 2019. This was not just a win. It was a landslide that crushed opposition morale and confirmed that Modi was not a one-time wave, but a long-term phenomenon *, but the story of Modi's second term is far more complex. While 2014 was about development promises and hope, 2019 was about nationalism, identity politics, and centralized control of power. The strongman image was now fully institutionalized, but so were the cracks beneath the surface. The Pulwama attack and Balakot strikes, turning point of 2019 *. The lead-up to the 2019 elections was dramatically shaped by the Pulwama Terror attack in February 2019. A suicide bomber killed over 40 Indian paramilitary soldiers in Kashmir. The nation was shocked, angry, and emotionally charged. Just days later, the Modi government claimed to have conducted airstrikes in Balakot, Pakistan, destroying terror camps. Whether the strikes achieved their intended goals remains disputed, but politically they were a masterstroke. Modi was projected as the protector of the nation. Media channels ran aggressive nationalist coverage, glorifying the government's response. Opposition leaders who questioned the official narrative were branded anti-national. The Pulwama Balakot episode turned the election into a referendum on national security, and Modi positioned himself as the only leader capable of defending India. The 2019 landslide victory. The BJP's 2019 campaign was less about Aki Din and more about national security and Hindu pride. Modi was celebrated as the hero of Balakot. The slogan "Modi Hai to Mumkin Hai," if Modi is there, anything is possible, became popular. Hindu nationalist rhetoric intensified, energizing the BJP's base. Congress, meanwhile, struggled with leadership crises. Rahul Gandhi's Chokadar Chor Hai campaign, accusing Modi of corruption in the Rafale deal, failed to resonate with the masses. Modi's personal popularity overshadowed everything else. The result: BJP not only retained power but did so with an even stronger mandate. Article 370. The Kashmir gamble. Soon after the 2019 victory, Modi made his boldest move yet, revoking Article 370 of the Indian Constitution, which gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. The state was bifurcated into two union territories. Thousands of soldiers were deployed. Internet and communications were shut down for months. Local political leaders were detained. To BJP supporters, this was a historic moment. They hailed it as the final integration of Kashmir with India and a fulfillment of a long-standing Hindutva dream. To critics, however, it was a violation of democratic principles, carried out without consulting Kashmiris. Internationally, the move drew sharp criticism, with reports of human rights violations and suppression of dissent. But domestically, it boosted Modi's strongman image further. The Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, and NRC*, if Article 370 was about territorial nationalism, the CAA-NRC controversy was about religious identity. The CAA offered fast-track citizenship to non-Muslim refugees from neighboring countries. The NRC, National Register of Citizens, aimed to identify illegal immigrants, disproportionately targeting Muslims. This triggered some of the largest protests in India's recent history. Students, activists, and ordinary citizens poured onto the streets. The iconic Shaheen Bagh protest, led by Muslim women, became a symbol of resistance, but the government responded with a heavy hand. Police, crackdowns in universities, arrests of activists under draconian laws, a narrative that painted protesters as traitors and anti-national. The message was clear: dissent would not be tolerated. Media control and the erosion of democracy. By Modi's second term, media freedom had drastically shrunk. Major news channels functioned as propaganda arms of the BJP, pushing government narratives and silencing critical voices. Journalists critical of the government faced harassment, raids, or worse. Independent media outlets struggled under financial and political pressure. Social media platforms were flooded with coordinated propaganda campaigns. Even the judiciary and other democratic institutions were accused of bending to executive pressure. Opposition leaders complained of a level playing field vanishing completely. The cult becomes a personality religion. By 2019, Modi was no longer just a leader, he was a phenomenon. His face dominated posters, government advertisements, even COVID vaccination certificates. Later on, supporters referred to him as Maha Nayak, great leader. His speeches were treated like mass events of devotion. Criticism of Modi was equated with betrayal of the nation. This transformation of Modi into a political demigod is one of the defining features of his second term. Economy and social reality. While nationalism dominated headlines, the economy was faltering. Unemployment reached a 45-year high. The 2016 demonetization shock still haunted small businesses. Asterisk, the 2017 GS to rollout caused chaos for traders, farmers. Continued to protest over falling incomes. Yet, these issues were overshadowed by identity politics and security narratives. The cult of Modi made economic failures less politically damaging than they would have been for any other leader. Authoritarian shifts. Observers noted that Modi's India in his second term began resembling an electoral autocracy rather than a liberal democracy. Centralization of power. Modi and Amit Shah ran the government with little internal debate. Use of investigative agencies. Opposition leaders often found themselves targeted by raids and legal cases. Silencing dissent, activists, journalists, and critics were branded anti-national or jailed. The balance of power tilted dangerously toward one leader and one party. Conclusion. Modi 2.0 single quotes S real legacy. The second term of Modi was less about economic reform and more about reshaping India's identity. Article 370 cemented BJP's nationalist credentials. CNRC polarized communities and deepened Hindu-Muslim divides. Media and institutions bent further toward government control. Nationalism overshadowed unemployment and economic stagnation.